Hello, I'm Paul Nisi from FrontDoorsGamer.com.
And I'm Lito Giovacchini of Unstoppable Force meets the Immovable Object.
And this is Comic Station, issue number 30 for July 24, 2013. We probably have our most mainstream new releases, as well as 5 whole new reviews for this week. And of course, we will touch on San Diego Comic-Con, but we will have a separate video for that to follow. For July 24, 2013, we're going to start off with the big event coming out of Marvel is Hunger #1. This one takes place after the Ultron. It's the Age of Ultron continuation. Honestly, despite having Galactus on here, the real star of it is Rick Jones. He's been chosen by the Watchers, given cosmic powers, and this is the Ultimate Universe, so that sets that up right there. But really, Rick Jones doesn't want his responsibility. There's this whole inner dialogue of himself, how he doesn't want responsibility.
Very much refusing the call. It's very Joseph Campbell that way.
Yeah, he's just like, why? Why should I be the one to do this?
Yeah.
And he ends up the Watchers get tired of it. They pull him in. They show him a battle between 2 intergalactic forces. And then, of course, at the end, Galactus rips his way through into the universe. And he actually ends up merging with another threat to become even greater threat, and
I believe he merges with the Ultimate Galactus, the robot one.
Yes, and it's just weird.
It is weird. Like his the robot Galactus forms into an armor for him that looks a little dopey. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
I would say, as a disclaimer here, if you don't know anything about the Ultimate Universe, this is not a good place to start.
No.
Like, if you don't know why Rick James is suddenly Golden Boy, you'll be lost.
And if you haven't been keeping up with the Age of Ultron, why is
Again,
that?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of ifs, and it's a lot of dependent on other things. And really, the biggest thing about this comic is more potential than actually being a good first issue.
Yeah.
It's the potential of Galactus is such a big threat, but otherwise, there's not much to this issue.
It's a good idea, but doesn't really do anything with that idea.
Yeah. So potential, but no substance.
Agreed. If I had to describe this issue in one word, it would be confused.
This is the
Superior Spider-Man Team-Up #1.
Yeah.
It seems to go through several definitions of what team-up is going to mean in this book. So, Superior Spider-Man, if you don't know, he's Dr. Octopus, fighting other heroes, then he's sort of the good guy, but not, then teaming up with heroes at the end, or maybe villains, who knows, along with a crazy surprise. It's very all over the place and inconsistent that way. It feels like it was 3 different scripts that got shuffled together by accident, and I really question if it needs to exist outside the main Spider-Man book, other than to just sell more copies, honestly.
Honestly, it just feels like a ploy to take the Superior Spider-Man that some people have been a little cool on lately,
Yeah.
and say, hey, look, we have all these other characters, love these other characters, and therefore you'll love this new Spider-Man. So
yeah, that's sort of been a weird thing with Marvel. Like, you love Galactus, but you're not hot on Rick Jones. Here he's all over this book. Galactus, Galactus.
there you go. So that sums that up pretty well. The next one we have is one of our only small
Indie books,
publishers
yeah.
this week, in a weird twist, is the All New Fathom from Aspen. Again, Aspen is beautiful artwork.
Yeah.
Signature style is always the artwork. It's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Honestly, I really like this issue as far as a first issue. It does a really good job of just jumping into it. You get right in. There's an earthquake, icebergs start rising. You don't know why. It's not explained. People disappear into the dust cloud. And then you actually see later that Aspen Matthews is introduced by way of a oil leakage, and she comes in and saves it. And it's literally a news reporter going, oh, she's one of the Blue. She has these powers, and she can breathe. And that's all you get as far as backstory. And that's great to me, because I haven't been reading it, and it's a good, you know what, she has powers, do you believe it? I believe it.
I don't think it really gets the ball rolling in a solid way and doesn't drag at all, like a lot of first issues run the risk of.
Absolutely. So it does a good intro, not much rehash, and leaves it open-ended. I think this is a good first issue. If you've been interested in Fathom, this is a nice way to start. If you haven't been interested in Fathom, I don't know how
Much
it'll
will be
pull
into
you
it.
in.
Yeah, I got you. Which brings us to our last one. the Hawkeye Annual. Now, if you've been following my reviews, which I assume you all do,
Of course.
you know that I really am a big fan of Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, which is a shame that this one is a little bit lackluster. It shifts the focus from actually Clint Barton Hawkeye to the female Hawkeye, whose name I sadly never really learned beyond just Girl Hawkeye. It's following her an adventure out in Los Angeles dealing with Madame Mask, and without getting into too much detail, it's a very good self-contained story, but it lacks the same heart that Clint Barton usually brings to the series. She's just not as strong as protagonist as he is, and I know it sounds kind of cruel, but there's a reason we didn't give her a book and gave one to him instead.
So it really doesn't tie in...
It doesn't really connect to the overall story that there is in the Hawkeye book proper.
So unless you're a real Hawkeye completionist, you're not really
Yeah.
interested. But otherwise, it doesn't really tie in. You're not going to miss much if you miss it.
Yeah, if you're reading the book monthly, you can give this one a skip.
Yep. And we do have 2 new releases that we won't be going over in detail too much, but this is Gamma from Dark Horse Comics and Lobster Johnson from Dark Horse Comics. The reason we're not going into too much is because we'll have full reviews up on the site within the next day or two from Lido as well.
Yep.
So why rehash? Up next, we're going to go into our reviews. We have 5 of them. We'll hopefully try to get through that in a timely manner.
Our first book is Batman 66, number 1 from DC, which I reviewed last week in video form and in written format, so I'll make this very brief. It's kitschy and campy and a little bit lame in the sides of the series, with some weird filters on the art that don't really work. Still, overall, pretty good. Next up is another book I reviewed in text format, Superior Carnage number 1. The artwork is good, but the rest of the book really falters. It has a lot of wasted potential in it. It's full of a lot of padding and really doesn't feel like a Carnage story at all. It feels like a Frightful 4 story.
Absolutely. The first one we have here is from Image Comics, is Invincible number 104, and this one, it has Angstrom sends Mark into the alternate universe with the other Invincibles. Cannibalism's going on. Adam Eve is yelling at Angstrom because he did something wrong, and it's really not much of a plot. It's just kind of a filler. It's padding. It does tie some things together, but nothing really takes place. It sets up future conflicts going on, so it's an okay issue.
Next is Watson and Holmes number 1 from New Paradigm Studios, which is very, very good. It has amazing artwork with some great use of coloring and lighting, and it's a great fresh take on these old characters that shies away from a lot of the other takes of them who come out recently, like BBC Sherlock, Elementary, and the Robert Downey Jr. films. It's very new in how it does this, and it's very good that way. Recommended.
Yeah, this one, actually, I am really sad I didn't read it last week, so I'll be getting it this week. And again, the artwork, I checked it out. It's beautiful. I really enjoyed it. And I like the call-outs, like Baker Street signs.
Yeah.
All the little things. If you're a been watching all the
if you're a Holmesian at
all,
fan, yeah.
If you like it, then you're gonna see a lot of little call-outs that really tie the universe in together. Mm-hmm. Our last review is from Dark Horse Comics. It's Mass Effect Foundation number 1. This one has the biggest thing about this issue is the twist. It really sets you up and makes you believe in one normal expectation, and then at the very end twists it on you and goes, nope, wrong, that's not, you were looking in this direction and what we were doing was over here. And I really like that. It was a really good entry for new fans and established fans as well. As much as Mass Effect has been such a big franchise, I haven't really gotten into it too much, so I'm sure I missed a few little call-outs here and there. But I really did like it. I thought the world was established, and the artwork was great, and the pacing was fantastic. And again, that twist at the end just made me go, what? and so I really enjoyed that. Again, we have the Gamma and John's Lofters coming up next week for our reviews. This has been issue number 30 for Comic Station for July 24, 2013. We will have a separate video coming up soon that will be linked in the article on Front Towards Gamer that will cover San Diego Comic-Con. We will be going over movies, television, video games, and of course comics.
Obviously.
Who knew comics would be at Comic-Con? Apparently not a lot of the people there. So, anyways, stay tuned. We will be having that news coming up. I am Paul Nisi from Front Towards Gamer.
And I'm Lito Gioacchini from Unstoppable Force meets the Immovable Object.
And we will see you next week.